If you keep stretching, but nothing is changing, listen to this. Tightness doesn't always mean you need to stretch. So the feeling of tight could be more an interpretation of your nervous system telling you that it feels vulnerable. And instead of giving you stability, your body is just shortening those muscles. So what I advocate is that we've really got to assess to see, is your muscle length appropriate and is your range appropriate? And if it falls within a healthy range, then maybe we are barking up the wrong tree and that your body's actually seeking stability and comfort and safety as opposed to flexibility. So often we find with clients that are lower in tone, maybe from even childhood, they have some muscles that are super flexible and other muscles that have locked into shortness. So what I mean by that the body's seeking comfort is that could be a hypermobile person, and those joints need mechanical compression and they need to feel safe through a shortening process. So often, even with the little kiddies, and you've maybe heard of this with occupational therapy, is people will wear a weighted blanket or a jacket to give the nervous system comfort and to regulate those kiddos. Or we do exercises. Sometimes the children that are very neurospicy love to tackle, wrestle, and get pressure. And the same thing happens in us adults that are also a little bit unregulated. We are seeking comfort in the joints and in the body. And so I would say we've got to assess, we do not guess. We need to figure out what is actually genuinely tight and what feels like it just needs flexibility. Sometimes the antidote is more strength, more stability, more integrity. You're stretching muscles that are already overworked. So the problem is, if you don't know if that muscle is locked short or locked long, and you think, stretch some more, one day I'm going to break through this discomfort and it's suddenly going to feel better, that might not be serving you. Instead, you would rather figure out, do I need to give this muscle some other inputs? Maybe just shortening, maybe strengthening. Maybe you need to look at the muscle on the other side of the body. It's called the antagonist-agonist relationship. So like, for example, in the arm, you have the bicep, and on the other side of the arm is the tricep. So is that relationship dysfunctional, or are you just attacking the one muscle only and not solving the root of the problem? You're doing passive work instead of active control. So I don't blame you for wanting to have a good stretch or to outsource the issue as a flexibility issue and getting someone to improve your flexibility, do stretches, have a nice routine. There's a lot of joy that can be extracted from doing a good stretch session. But if it's not what your body's needed, then you need to be an active participant in giving your body what it needs. So strengthening. What I mean by passive is that sometimes when you stretch, you can just hang out and hold and breathe. And that is a passive change to the muscle fiber length. So when you are stretching a muscle, you take the overlapped cross bridges of a muscle fiber at a very microscopic level, and you are stretching the muscle to have a resting tension at a different spot in the muscle. So the cross bridges now don't overlap over as many millimeters or micromillimeters. And that act of stretching it or changing the muscle fiber length is passive because you're just breathing. But when you do something that's active, you are shortening and then lengthening and shortening and then lengthening. And that's going to result in a resting muscle tension that feels different, but it's through active participation, not just passive. You're not consistent with the right things. So doing something once is not enough to make or elicit a change. you need repetition. So if I'm going to embark on a routine of flexibility or a routine of strengthening, or maybe the combination of the two, one and done won't make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. But if I'm consistent and I'm able to make those changes to the muscle fibers and get enough volume at the right intensity and over a long enough time horizon, I will see results. So if you feel like your body's hurting and you're not quite sure if you need to strengthen it or lengthen it, do the body health check quiz, or better yet, book a session and do the foundation assessment with one of our trained instructors to see what it is your body really needs.